The twin suns of Arkan 7 bled red across the junk fields of the Outer Rim, a graveyard of old warships and forgotten civilizations. Wind howled across metal dunes, carrying the scent of rust, ozone, and something older, something watching. Corporal Jace Nolan tightened the strap of his cracked respirator and muttered, "Another glorious day in paradise." His voice echoed in his helmet, the only human voice for 10 light-years. The Val 3 scavenger crew laughed behind him. "Careful, Pinkskin," hissed Breaker, the squad leader, his mandibles clicking in amusement. "This wreckyard eats humans for breakfast." The others snickered, their chitinous armor glinting in the sunlight. To them, Jace was little more than a curiosity, a primitive mammal from a backwater world that somehow stumbled into the galactic stage. They called him the Relic. The joke never got old. Jace ignored them. He'd learned long ago that words didn't break bones, but plasma did. They were scavenging the wreck of an old human ship, the Erebus Dawn, lost 2 centuries ago during the Machine Wars. Most crews avoided human ruins. Humans built their ships differently, they said. The walls whispered, the metal remembered. The scanners came up empty. No power signatures, no life. But Jace's wrist pad flickered. "Hold up," he said, crouching. "I'm getting something low-frequency pulse, deep in the hull." Breaker rolled his compound eyes. "Probably your ancient tech malfunctioning, or maybe your ghosts." Jace didn't answer. He followed the faint signal through a corridor of twisted steel and flickering hull, their ghostly blue light illuminating the path like forgotten prayers. And that's when he heard it, a faint, rhythmic pulse, like a heartbeat, coming from behind a sealed bulkhead. He pried the door open with his vibrocator, and a rush of cold air hissed out, ancient and dry. Inside was a chamber unlike the rest of the ship, circular, pristine, untouched by time. In the center stood an armor rack, but the armor wasn't human. Not entirely. It shimmered like liquid obsidian, its surface alive with faint glyphs that pulsed in sync with his own heartbeat. At its chest burned a faint sigil, an angular spiral, the mark of the Aurelian Crusades. A legend whispered among spaces. The armor of the first human who defied the gods. Jace. Breaker barked. "Report, human. What did you find?" Jace stared at the armor, unable to look away. Something impossible. Before he could react, the ground trembled. The ship's power core, dormant for centuries, flared to life. The Val 3 shouted as red alarms blazed. "Trap! The ship is waking up." Jace grabbed the armor's chestplate on instinct, and light exploded around him. Pain and sound blurred. For a moment, he was falling through memory. 1,000 voices, human and alien, whispering in unison. Air of Earth. Claim what was lost. When the light faded, the armor had fused to him. Black veins of energy ran across his body, linking his pulse to its rhythm. He gasped, eyes glowing faint gold beneath his visor. The Volturi stared in horror. What did you do, human?" Jace looked down at his hands, armored, powerful, alive. "I don't know," he said quietly, "but I think it just chose me." Hours later, their ship, the Kerith Vale, lifted off the wreck. The Val 3 crew kept their distance, muttering in their clicking tongue. They feared him now. The armor wouldn't come off, no matter what tools they tried. It responded only to Jace's touch when they docked at Outpost Navarra. Jace stepped into the marketplace, a chaotic sprawl of species, scents, and sounds. The laughter followed him there too. Everywhere he went, eyes lingered, some mocking, some afraid. That's when he saw her, a Val 3 woman, younger, smaller, her armor broken, her bioluminescent lines flickering weakly. She knelt in the dirt while 2 Enclave enforcers kicked her. Half-blood trash, one spat in galactic standard. Back somewhere else, something in Jace snapped. He crossed the street without a word and caught the enforcer's arm mid-swing. The alien snarled, baring his mandibles, then froze as Jace's armored grip cracked the man's exosuit with a metallic crunch. The crowd fell silent. "Get out of here," Jace said, voice low and cold. The armor's energy flared faintly, responding to his anger. The enforcers backed off, muttering threats as they slithered away. The Val 3 woman looked up, startled. You helped me." Why he offered her a hand? Because no one else did. She hesitated, then took it. Her skin was cool to the touch, faintly glowing beneath his gauntlet. "My name is Karen," she said softly. "Jace," he replied, "and I think we both just made enemies." As the suns dipped below the horizon, the two of them disappeared into the alleys of Navarra, hunted by those who'd mocked them both, bound by something neither understood yet in the dark. The armor pulsed faintly, as if remembering a promise made long before either of them was born. The winds of Arkan 7 had barely died when Jace and Karen slipped into the neon underbelly of Navarra Station. Above them, ships glided through a haze of exhaust and ion trails, bright constellations in a lawless sky. The word had already spread. The human who wears the armor off, the Val 3 exile who follows him. Every bounty hunter, every mercenary, every corrupt officer in the Outer Rim now had a reason to hunt them. They hid in the shadows of a decommissioned refinery. Jace removed his helmet and winced as faint streams of golden light pulsed beneath his skin. "It's not just armor," he said through gritted teeth. "Inside me." Karen studied the patterns glowing across his chest, her slender fingers tracing the lines without fear. It's bonding, she whispered. Valkyrie armor symbiotes use neural resonance, but this one it feels older, human, yet alive. Jace exhaled, a short, humorless laugh. Figures, even in space, I can't escape bad tech support. She smirked faintly. You joke when you're afraid. Yeah, he said, that's the human way. The station lights dimmed as night cycle began. In the distance, a convoy of Dominion patrol ships entered orbit, black, spear-like, bearing the mark of Admiral Vareth, a name spoken with fear in half the galaxy. Karen froze. They're here. He's here. Who? The one who destroyed my clan. The Dominion's butcher. Jay stood, eyes narrowing. Then we keep moving. We find a ship, and we run before the door exploded inward. Mercenaries flooded in, their armor gleaming under the refinery lights. By order of Admiral Vareth, their leader barked, "You are to surrender the relic of the Aurelian Empire. Any resistance will be punished." Jace's pulse quickened. The armor reacted instantly, flaring to life in veins of gold and black. The air around him shimmered with a faint hum. "Guess we're not talking this out," he muttered. The first shot came, plasma bolt, center mass. It never reached him. The armor rippled and absorbed it, then redirected the energy through his arm in a single, violent burst. The blast sent 3 mercs flying. Karen dove beside him, snatching a fallen rifle. "You humans," she said, grinning despite herself. "You never know when to quit. Story of my species." They fought side by side through smoke and metal and fire. Karen moved like a dancer, fast, graceful, her bioluminescent markings trailing light with every strike. Jace was raw power, a storm contained in armor. Every punch left a crater, every shout echoed like thunder. When the last merc fell, silence reclaimed the refinery. Smoke curled toward the vents. Jace's armor dimmed, returning to a faint golden pulse. Karen leaned against a crate, breathing hard. "You should be dead," he smirked. "That's what they keep telling me." She studied him for a long moment. "That armor, it's not random. It responded to your intent. You felt it, didn't you? Like it knew what you wanted before you did." Jace hesitated. "Yeah, like it's alive. Or remembering something." She nodded slowly. "The Aurelian weren't just warriors. They were creators. Rumor says their armor was made from the last living star, bound by consciousness. They called it the Heart of Dawn, and it chose me," Jace said, almost to himself. "Why? Maybe it saw what I see," Karen whispered. Their eyes met, 2 outcasts. 2 broken souls bound by accident or destiny. The silence between them felt heavier than words. Before either could speak, the station alarms howled. "Alert! Dominion warships approaching. Planetary lockdown initiated." Karen's voice trembled. "Vareth's flagship, the Vindicator. He'll burn this station to ash to get that armor." Jace looked at her, then at the star map flickering on a nearby console. A small moon blinked faintly in orbit. "That moon, the wrecked colony. There's a shipyard there." Karen frowned. "It's haunted. No one goes there." "Perfect," he said. "Let's haunt it." Hours later, their stolen skiff broke atmosphere, streaking toward the dead moon. The surface was silver gray, littered with wrecks half buried in dust. Towers leaned like broken bones. Inside one of the ruins, they found what they needed, a half-functional human corvette from the old wars. The nameplate read Odyssey. Karen ran her hand over the hull. "It's beautiful, primitive, but pure." Jace smiled faintly. "You talk like a poet." "My people once were," she said softly, "before the Dominion made soldiers out of all of us." He stepped closer. "We can fix that." As they powered the ship, something shimmered in the distance, a pulse of light from beneath the lunar dust. Karen tilted her head. The armor's reacting again. Jace followed the signal, leading them to a buried temple, ancient, crystalline, older than any known species. Inside, murals depicted humans and Valkyrie standing side by side, wielding light against a black void. The inscription glowed faintly as they approached. Karen translated aloud. "When the lost child of Earth awakens the Heart of Dawn, the sky will burn, and the 2 shall rise as one flame." He looked at her. "That's US." She smiled faintly. "Maybe the universe likes irony." But their moment was shattered by the roar of engines above. The Vindicator had arrived. Beams of light pierced the temple roof as Dominion troops descended. Karen grabbed Jace's hand. "We have to go now." The temple shook as explosions ripped through the ground. Jace's armor fled, and in that instant he saw visions of the first humans in the stars, of love between worlds, of battles that shaped galaxies. He understood. The armor wasn't just a weapon, it was a memory, and he was the last part of it coming alive. "Then let's finish what they started." Jace said. They ran toward the Odyssey as fire rained from the sky, and the Heart of Dawn pulsed brighter than ever, calling its heir to war. The Odyssey screamed through the black sky, chased by the Dominion fleet. The armor pulsed beneath Jace's skin, glowing brighter with every surge of adrenaline. Karen sat at the controls, her fingers flying across the console as plasma bolts streaked past, their locking weapons. She shouted, "Then make them miss." Jace yelled back. Karen gritted her teeth and pulled the ship into a violent roll. Two Dominion fighters collided behind them in a fiery bloom. The explosion illuminated the shattered moon below and the massive silhouette of Admiral Vareth's flagship, the Vindicator, descending like a black sun. "Look at that monster," Jace muttered. "He's bringing half the Dominion fleet." Karen's voice softened. "He won't stop until you're dead, until we're both dead." Jace grinned, reckless and alive. "Then we make him regret ever meeting a human." They landed on the far side of the moon, near the ruins of an ancient energy spire. The heart of Dawn's glow was now so intense it made the shadows dance. Jace placed a hand on the alien stone. "It's resonating," Karen said, awe in her voice. "The temple's reacting to you like it's waking up." Jace looked at the glowing veins that now ran up his arms. "If this thing's a weapon, we might just have a shot." Karen hesitated. "If you use it wrong, it could burn you out, body and soul." He turned to her, eyes fierce. "Then I'll burn for something that matters." She stepped closer, placing her palm against his chest plate. "Then I burn with you." The armor shimmered, and something passed between them. A wave of light, a psychic tether. Jace gasped as memories flooded his mind. Her childhood under Dominion rule, her first battle, her mother's death. In return, she saw him, the war on Mars, his fallen squad, the long loneliness of being human among the stars. Tears filled her eyes. "You carry so much pain." He smiled faintly. "Guess we both do." Their connection deepened. Not words, not thoughts, but emotion. Fire meeting fire. For one heartbeat, they weren't two beings anymore. They were one. Then the sky split open. The Vindicator descended into low orbit, its cannons charging. The voice of Admiral Vareth boomed through the comms, cold and cruel. "Human anomaly. Valkyrie traitor. Surrender the heart of Dawn and your deaths will be swift." Jace looked up at the warship, blotting out the stars. "Not today." He stepped into the open, the armor flaring to full brilliance. Karen followed her own bioluminescent patterns, synchronizing with his light twin energies, intertwining like threads of fate. "Let's end this," she whispered. The battle erupted like a nova. Dropships roared through the thin atmosphere, deploying legions of Dominion soldiers. Plasma fire turned the ruins into rivers of molten stone. Jace's armor sang with power, deflecting shots, shattering mechs, tearing through the ranks like a living storm. Karen fought beside him, blades of light forming from her hands, an ancient Valkyrie technique powered by emotion. Every swing was poetry, every strike was vengeance. When the dust cleared, the ground trembled. The Vindicator itself was descending. From its hangar bay stepped Admiral Vareth, clad in black armor lined with crimson veins. His eyes glowed like dying suns. "So the relic awakens," Vareth sneered, "and it chose a human. Guess it saw something worth fighting for," Jace said, raising his weapon. Vareth's gauntlet flared, summoning a blade of pure energy. "Then fight." Insect the two collided, light against darkness. The impact shattered the air, throwing shockwaves across the battlefield. Each strike sent ripples of gold and red through the sky. Karen tried to join in, but Vareth's power slammed her back, his laughter echoing. "You think love will save you?" the Admiral taunted. "The heart of Dawn obeys no heart." Jace, bleeding, forced himself up. "That's where you're wrong. It doesn't obey, it chooses." He reached out to Karen, their hands clasping once more. Light erupted, not cold, not violent, but alive. The moon became a second sun. Vareth's blade disintegrated in the radiance. The explosion folded inward, absorbed by the armor, by them. When the brilliance faded, the Dominion army lay still. The flagship broke apart in orbit, a silent inferno, and Jace stood at the center of the ruin. The armor fused with his skin, glowing in golden harmony with Karen's markings. She touched his face, trembling. "You stopped him." He smiled, weary but alive. "No, we did." Months later, the war was over. On the green plains of New Arkan, human engineers and Valkyrie artisans worked together, rebuilding what was lost. Children of both species laughed in the dust, chasing drones that hovered like fireflies on a nearby hill. Jace and Karen stood beneath a sapphire sky. "He tried to divide us," Karen whispered, "and instead, we made something new." "Guess that's what humans do," Jace said. "Turn ashes into beginnings." She smiled, placing his hand on her stomach. "Then maybe our beginning is already here." Jace's eyes widened. "You mean?" Karen nodded softly. "The bond we shared, it created life. A fusion of two worlds." He exhaled, awe filling his voice. "A child of light." She leaned against him. "Our flame, Jace, the first of many." As the twin suns set, their light formed a golden halo across the horizon, two entwined fires burning as one. And far above, in the wreckage of the Vindicator, a single spark flickered, the last heartbeat of the Heart of Dawn before vanishing into the stars. A symbol, a promise, a legend reborn.